Water. Travis Green, alongside Darryl Walls and Chandler Moore, bring to life the studio recording of Dependable. Are we gonna hear Dependable to take us out of this one? Let's take a listen. Dependable that Travis Green working on with Mr. Walls there and Shantae and Chandler. Chandler Moore. Chandler Moore. I don't know. We didn't hear Chandler's part, did we?
No, I was hoping to get a Love Chandler.
Yeah, but it was taking too long, eh?
Yeah, it's taking too long.
We'll have to listen to that one and get it ourselves.
Quite long. It's 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know that's what you were doing. I was like, oh, when is Chandler gonna come up? What? Sorry, how long is the song?
7 minutes, 24 seconds.
7 minutes is all right. Well, I'll listen to that to hear Chandler's section, and I'm sure our listeners can do the same. That takes care of your e-updates for today. And do we go straight to the conversation, or we got some messages to go?
We got messages. Yes, let's take the break. Yeah, I'll come back.
Jamaica dominated the 49th staging of the Carifta Games at the National Stadium recently, but some aren't very happy with what occurred during the three-day championships. Join Sports Talk this Saturday, April 23 from 1 to 2 p.m., where we'll speak to Leighton Levy from Jamaica and Anmar Goodrich Boyce from Barbados, top journalists who covered the Carifta Games, to discuss whether the coverage of the event was biased towards Jamaica, and we'll also highlight some of the top performances. That's Sports Talk with me, Daniel Blake, this Saturday, April 23 from 1 to 2 p.m. as we explore the recent Carifta Games in Jamaica, right here on the family station, Love 101. Sports Talk is brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Looking for a great health center to satisfy your medical, physiotherapy, and counseling needs? With a pharmacy offering great prices, excellent service, and safe parking in Halfway Tree? Welcome to Bethel Baptist Church Holistic Health Center and Pharmacy, located at 6 Hope Road, Kingston 10, 876-926-8272, 929-6979. Bethel Baptist Church Holistic Health Center and Pharmacy, open Mondays to Saturdays. We look forward to serving you.
The Church of God in Jamaica National Youth Executive presents Rise Up, Praise Up, Live Up, massive gospel concert featuring Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, Chevelle Clark Wine, Dredge, and top winners from the National Talent Hunt competition. When? Saturday, April 23rd at 4 o'clock. Tickets available at the Church of God in Jamaica head office, 35 Hope Road, or Jamaica Youth for Christ office, 2 Acacia Avenue, for only $1,200, or watch it online at caribevents.com.jm, only $10 US. We outside, so don't miss it.
Gotta make a way.
This Saturday, Love 101 takes you downtown as the city of Kingston brings you the Desmond Mackenzie Wellness Day of Care for the Homeless, with free medical care and other services for the homeless community. Activities kick off at 10 a.m. and we're bringing you the highlights at 11 under the auspices of His Worship, the Mayor of Kingston, Senator Delroy Williams. Listen for Through the Bible with Love, brought to you by the Open Bible Standard Churches of Jamaica at 10:45 a.m. This Saturday, it's all about giving back, and we're sharing the love at 11 a.m. Saturday, April 23 on the family station, Love 101.
This world with self-centered men, women, boys, and
They say this mountain can't be moved. They say these chains will never break. But they don't know you like we do. There is power in your name. We've heard that there is no way through. We've heard the tide will never change. They haven't seen what you can do. There is power in your name. So much power in your name.
As I saw on a CC Winans with that one, Believe for It, the title track of her Grammy Award winning album. And I suppose it's the title track for the title of her tour that's coming up in later this year, the fall, as they call it in the US of A. So, and if you're just joining us, then this is Engage. It's your drive time entertainment and lifestyle choice right here on the Family Station. And today we're going to be you're locked into Engage. And right now we're going to talk about social media. So as social media platforms continue to emerge and parents continue to express, I guess, concern, we have to consider how social media affects children, or social media affect them, since it's plural, their growing mind at least. Therefore, we have to constantly be on the lookout for social networks, sadness, cyberbullying, and risky behaviors in children. How is social media changing the children's brains, though? That's a question that I think somebody answered on a recent Wall Street Journal Tech News podcast, which we're going to take a listen to in just a moment.
Parents often worry that new technology is bad for their children. Now, there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that social media, and in particular TikTok, is affecting young users, and in some surprising ways. Last fall, our sister podcast, The Journal, spoke to one young girl who started developing physical tics that her doctor believes she got from watching TikTok. At first, it was just an occasional, uncontrollable jerk of her neck, and over the course of about a week, those neck tics became more frequent and more severe to the point where my ear was almost touching my shoulder, and my neck would be so sore I could barely turn it from it happening constantly. Every 10 minutes I'd have a 2-minute just spasm of my neck, not being able to move. Beyond that, there's also new research suggesting TikTok, with its scroll of super short videos, is having an impact on users' attention spans.
All right. So, how can we protect our children from these very strange things like tics, their necks, and so on? Well, we've got clinical psychologist Christina Silvera, and she works primarily with children and adolescents, and she's going to provide some insights today. Good afternoon, Christina. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
I like it looking in the background there.
Thank you. How are you?
Okay, so you heard that clip. Did you hear of that thing before? That the findings were TikTok with whatever video inside of TikTok that these children were watching, and then suddenly start to manifest these strange movements as well?
No, I didn't hear of it before today. I read the study that they were talking about in that recording, and what they basically did was that they watched a whole bunch of TikTok videos with people who said that they had Tourette's or a tic disorder, and then they compared those influencers in those videos and their symptoms to what is typically seen in those diagnosed TikTok, or not TikTok, tic disorders or Tourette syndrome. And then they found that the influencers in the videos, their tics were not completely equivalent to what we know the symptoms should look like. So we don't really have information about how it's affecting the children and adolescents who are watching the videos, but they're just looking at how the influencers are portraying the disorder.
Right. But that all of this is happening within the context of social media having an increasing influence over the ideas, the behaviors of children. What are you finding in your work with children and adolescents or adolescents?
I think I'm finding two ends of the spectrum. Well, some people are in between. So on one hand, which is really positive, people are getting a lot of information that helps them to understand and to confirm some of the things that they're experiencing, because there are influencers and psychologists that are on social media that are educating people about mental health, the importance of mental health, what diagnoses mean, what symptoms look like, and that you should get help, or unfortunately how to help yourself. But then on the other end, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot more people coming in that are experiencing things just like this tic disorder, that they're seeing very frequently, because what happens is that with the social media, once you interact a lot with a certain kind of content, you see it all the time, and so the children are seeing this, and then they're manifesting the things that they're seeing. And it's no different from, back in the day when Facebook was really popular, or MySpace, or the terminologies that you would use would change, because you'd use more Americanized terms, and we use more words like because influencers say, oh my God, like that's what she said, and that's just what you see so often influences who you are and who you portray yourself to be.
Are you seeing in your work? I know you're not a brain person. Is that a neurologist? No, that's neurologist, whatever. But I know you're not into maybe the study of that. What in your work or in your reading, are you seeing anything where TikTok, not just TikTok, social media in general, are having an impact on the brain function of young people? Is it changing their brain?
Yes, it is changing the brains of young people and adults too. So we talk about things earlier in your introduction. You talked about attention span, and we know that people's attention span have been getting shorter throughout the years, not just TikTok. Back in the day there was Vine, and then YouTube, and then when you look at YouTube's research in terms of how long people stay on videos and how long people interact with content, it's getting shorter and shorter, and they incorporate other things in there to help people to get through long videos on YouTube, where you can watch videos on 1.5 speed or 2 times speed, just to keep you engaged long enough, right? And so TikTok is just like one of those other things, that just this thing of this era where you can interface with content very quickly. And so you're finding, and we've been finding even before TikTok, that sometimes adolescents and children, they clock out of conversations and interactions sooner than earlier generations, because they're so used to just staying focused and receiving information in just such a short time.
But can that have any advantages though? I mean, it's the way you just described it, and you said they clock out. I mean, obviously, if you're a teacher or some sort of parent and you're trying to impart some knowledge to the child, which clearly requires more than a minute, it's very concerning that they would clock out. But can that be a positive?
I mean, if you look at anything, I guess you can find the positive in it. I guess you can look at I'm trying to come up with one right now. Okay, so I guess you can look at the fact that it's going to be easier for people to acquire knowledge and information in a short period of time, and so teachers have the opportunity to, will have to be creative in terms of giving students content in a very, sorry, I'm using myself, in a very quick way, and in a very energetic way, and a very creative way that can keep their attention. So I guess so.
You say maybe it could be positive. How do parents help? Because now, because of the pace of life, and then obviously social media is not the only factor, but social media contributes. The pace of life doesn't always allow parents to have as much time or attention, and not just the pace of life, but the state of life, where sometimes there are single parent households. More often than not, that's the case in Jamaica. And so children end up devices and tablets and things of that nature with various forms of media as company or whatever. So they get these devices sooner. And sometimes the parents or caregivers are not aware of the impact of it, because it's easy. The child is fussing and you really need to finish cooking the dinner. You just give them a tablet and they're watching cartoon or whatever it is. And it distracts them that you can get to finish. But the dangers lurk because if that becomes too much of a habit and they become how can parents balance that sort of thing? It may sound obvious, but say it again, even if it is.
I think parents sometimes abandon their responsibility in the whole process of technology and social media. And so they will say, oh, that's young people saying, I don't really understand it. But the truth is, you're going to really have to understand what social media is and what the different things are and how to maneuver it if you're going to allow your child to watch it. Because they're just going to acquire the knowledge as they go along. And the thing with the internet is that you have access to all sorts of people, and all sorts of people from all over the world and for different backgrounds have access to you and your child. And so children, if you don't give them the how to interact with people on the internet, how to interact with content, what you're supposed to watch, and then monitor that by having access to their phones and their technology and having access to whatever they're using the internet to do, then you leave it up to the child and you leave it up to the internet to teach themselves. And unfortunately, many kids have learned very big consequences from that because of oversharing or because of bullying or because of them being bullied or being the bully. And then it's going to be important that parents understand that, yes, technology is fantastic because we are moving through this world in a very fast-paced technological way. So it would be great if your kid has social media knowledge. But your kid still needs to go outside and your kid still needs to draw, because these are the things that help with brain development and help with creativity and help with problem solving. Just being outside in nature, help with emotional regulation, help with communication skills. And we can see in the pandemic where, lots of kids' social skills decline, because what happens is that with the tablet is that the tablet talks to you. You don't really talk back to it. There's no eye contact. There's no pacing conversation. There's no understanding how do we maneuver disagreements in the tablet and the computer. It just tells you what it thinks and what it believes. And then yes, you can type in the comments, but it's not a natural conversation in the realest sense. And so parents just have to be knowledgeable, have to teach their children about the internet, monitor their children, and then prioritize them going outside and doing other things that don't include technology.
So, how parents who may be experiencing or observing some of the changes in their children behavior based on social media, some of which is just coming to light because speaking of the pandemic, some parents were trying to even manage themselves and the pressures that it was putting on them. So to a large extent, sometimes the devices help them cope, and they would have felt like, okay, well, at least I'm trying to take care of the child. I'm going out of my mind as well. And so now they're having to deal with some of the consequences. What are some of the things they can do at this point? They might be observing some changes in the behavior of their children. And through our conversation and other types of things that they're now being made aware of, they can link this change in behavior to something from social.
Well,
what can
I wouldn't say, well, first, I wouldn't say that social media is the only, I think the reason for a lot of the changes is a lot of things. So social media is one big part of it, but also being inside and not being around peers and have this pandemic or this illness, this virus that's out there, and a lot of unknown and then a lot of information that you don't understand or that you want to understand, but it's so much. All of those things are contributing to the changes in children and then the natural development. So they're going to change. But in terms of social media, I'm a big fan of social media holidays or technology holidays, which can be a few hours or a whole day, but where you replace using the technology with other things like going outside, playing board games, having conversations, reading from actual books, or even if you use the Kindle, I guess that's fine. Also having talks with your children about what you're noticing and what they're experiencing, and then being very self-aware to say, well, this is something that I really can't handle. So your child talking about extra sadness, wanting to die, feeling very anxious to go outside and interact with people or go to school. And these are real fears, because they've been inside for a very long time, and that big part of their development, which is interacting with peers, was taken away from them. You know, nobody's fault. And so you just have to empathize, and you have to say, well, this is hard, and see if you guys can problem solve together. You and your child can't do it on your own. You don't dismiss their feelings, and you don't minimize their feelings because you are having hard feelings as well. And then contacting a psychologist or talking to your doctor about some of the things that the child is experiencing, so that everybody can work together to help them to manage where they are.
Christina, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today. How can people get in touch with you if they want to have more conversations?
Thank you so much for inviting me. Well, you can go on the Jamaican Psychological Society's website, and you can look where the members are, and you'll see a list of so many psychologists all over Jamaica, and my name's there too. And then you can also see psychologists that we have in the Jamaican diaspora that can help, and so you can give one of us a call. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And I'm getting some information that there is the Hear the Children's Cry is partnering with TikTok to help protect children against exploitative child content. So if you can check that out online and learn some more about that, that's one entity trying to make a difference for our children and the use of social media and helping them to manage all of that. So that was Christina Silvera, a psychologist who was sharing with us about the effects of, I guess, online social media in particular on children and what we can do. That takes care of our section or discussion just now. And I'm going to tell you what's coming up for this week and maybe next week. If you're into storytelling and live music, then Long Story Short is the event for you. Join the festivities next Saturday, April 30 at 8 to 10 at the Lazy Lizard Lounge at Grosvenor Terrace. And it's about 2-5 get you in. Long Story Short is staged every last Saturday of each month. I went for the first time. Have you ever been to it?
No, I haven't.
You should check it out. It's very interesting. It's an interesting kind of thing. You know, people come and they're supposed to share. They were supposed to make their long story of their lives or whatever interesting thing they want to do. Very short. So I think you're supposed to do it in like 8 minutes or whatever it is. And it's pretty cool. It can be inspiring. I heard quite a number of very inspiring stories. Wendell Lawrence from Spur Open, and he shared his story when I went, and the whole thing is very interesting.
Perhaps some people should go and learn how to cut their testimony short.
You know, I endorse. That's true. They should.
I'm just saying. You know, like, get to the point. You don't have to take us to China that.
Even though I don't know if you want an 8-minute testimony, so they really need to cut it shorter than 8 minutes.
Well, some of them, they're way over 8 minutes, so I would appreciate the 8 minutes.
Hold on a second there. Are you a a lover of arts, crafts, and live jazz music? Well, if your answer is yes, then we've got a treat for you. The Edna Manley College invites you to its International Jazz Day celebration happening April 30th. I thought it was tomorrow. Oh, no. Okay, it's next week. From 11 until 6:30, now we've got Colleen Douglas, marketing manager from Edna Manley, here to tell us about this day. Colleen, when I think it was this weekend.
I don't know. Does that mean that you would not have spoken with me today if you thought otherwise?
Tomorrow. So, okay, well, that means I can rest tomorrow because it's the following weekend. All right, that's great. It's
the following weekend.
Colleen,
it's actually...
Go on.
No. I was just saying that it's actually a set day. It was declared in 2011 by the United Nations. International Jazz Day is April 30.
Right. This is not the first time I've heard you with it. I think I maybe last year or the year before I heard you talking about it. And so, what is International Jazz Celebration Day? I mean, it as obvious as it might sound, what exactly happens?
I don't think it's that obvious though, Kalando. So thanks for asking that. Well, it's UN put it on their official calendar as an international day, and it's really recognizing the role jazz has played over the years for promoting peace and dialogue among cultures, diversity and respect for human dignity, fighting discrimination and fostering gender equality, all of the UN's kind of messaging. So they use jazz to raise this kind of international dialogue every year since 2011. We got on board about 2014 as Edna. We have a program in jazz, and we thought it was important that we at least engage the public through jazz at this time. We have jazz and popular music studies is really what the degree in music is. So, and you would know, Kalando, that Jamaica has always had jazz influences. We've had great, successful jazz musicians who did very well through the Alpha Boy School, of course. And for ones who are not familiar, how I used to think of jazz as a little girl, every time I hear a wind instrument, you know, like when you hear a tenor sax or any kind of saxophone or the clarinet or those kinds of instruments, we think jazz.
Wow.
Until Monty Alexander made jazz popular for us here.
So on the day, on the 30th, it's going to be at Edna Manley, and you said it's from 11 until 6:30. What can we expect when we come?
So it's a fair. I call it a Saturday market. So there's an artisan fair. We have artisans from across Jamaica, you know, coming to sell. They will be on the lawns. We've given them a space so that they can showcase what they make some money from it as a way of supporting the arts. But throughout the day, we will be playing jazz. We have live music at 12:30 with our steel pan orchestra. And then we have live music again at 2:00 with our students performing jazz between 2 and 3. And then at 5, we will have our faculty performing from 5 to 6. You know, faculty include Orville Hammond, Ibo Cooper, Derek Stewart, all of them just jamming. And the good thing about jazz, you can improvise. So you can just jam without having to rehearse heavily. You'll find interesting, Kalando. We have an exhibition that opens next week, Tuesday, for the curatorial study students. They have an exhibition called State of the Mind. We warn the public that it may be triggering because it's a mental health kind of exhibition, but it's open. The students are there. You can tour that. There's also an art walk. So there's art all over the campus where the students have curated. So you'll have that. What's exciting for me is the mural. We're painting a mural. So the students from the mural class in SVA and Kingston Creative doing a mural showcasing jazz and the spirit of collaboration.
Oh, that sounds like a very exciting day, Colleen, at Edna Manley. That's Arthur Wint Drive, in case you're not aware of that. And then we can follow online. Remind us of Edna's social media.
Well, we're Edna Manley College on Facebook and IG, and we're AMC Jamaica on Twitter. Our website is amc.edu.jm, and we're actually listed on the International Jazz Day website as an event, one of the events featured in the world, 160 countries, and we're on the site as one of the events that they look forward to. So you can just. And Kalando, what I forgot to tell you, Blacker was supposed to join. I noticed he hasn't joined. So he said he was having difficulty. You know, StreamYard is very sophisticated for some. So we close the day with what we call rhyme, rhythm, and story time. As you were talking about long story short, I remember that event closes the day. There were 9 storytellers who entered a competition a few weeks ago. Blacker won, but he's invited the other 8 to come and share the stories in the evening. Faye Ellington will be sort of emceeing that section. Yeah, so it's just a cool day for you to relax.
That sounds like you could plan for maybe the latter part of the day. So
the latter part of the day.
Or do your shopping, do your tour, and then have the music at 5, then the long. Okay, that's like what I do. I just organize my day. On the 13th, then I realized that it's not tomorrow; it's the following week.
Next week Saturday. Thank you.
Next week Saturday, yes. Marketing manager for Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, telling us about International Jazz Celebration. Is it the International Celebration? International Jazz Celebration Day. What am I getting it wrong? What's it? What is it?
Kalando, say slowly. International Jazz
International
Day.
Jazz Day celebration.
Yes.
There you go. I got it. Thank you. You see, you hear the
Thank
teacher
you.
says. Oh God! Thank you, Colleen, for that.
Thank
Our
you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Our upcoming event segment is sponsored by Spur Open. SpurOpen.com is a Jamaican online platform designed to simplify online payments for charities, churches, event organizers, and micro business owners. If you want to register your event, you got to go to SpurOpen.com/events and click the button that says "Get Started Now." Registration is free, and your event can be a free one so you can sign up. So that takes care of our event segment, and we say thanks to SpurOpen.com for that sponsorship. So you're going to go to the jazz thing?
That's next week?
Yes. Well, I think we've established that. It's not tomorrow. I thought it was tomorrow. So, okay, I'll do that tomorrow, and then the following week, and then, Sunday and the rest. But I guess maybe we can do resting this weekend and then plan for next weekend.
Let's see. Say
Jazz Day.
it slowly. What is it? Say it slowly. What is it again?
Say it slowly. International Jazz Day celebration.
International Jazz Day celebration.
And here she said Edna Manley is listed among another 100 plus countries, 60 countries she is, that the UN has recognized as having a celebration, and of course Jamaica is always in on those sort of things. We are, after all, musically gifted, and we've given lots of genres of music to the world, and we're clearly an authority in being able to participate in something like this. And it sounds like it's well organized, and there are going to be lots of celebration of not just the jazz, but art and creativity,
Yeah.
All right. So I think you've got some messages, and then we'll come back and see if we can connect for our conversation in your world of music.
Alrighty.
Jamaica dominated the 49th staging of the Carifta Games at the National Stadium recently, but some aren't very happy with what occurred during the three-day championships. Join Sports Talk this Saturday, April 23 from 1 to 2 p.m., where we'll speak to Leighton Levy from Jamaica and Anmar Goodrich Boyce from Barbados, top journalists who covered the Carifta Games, to discuss whether the coverage of the event was biased towards Jamaica, and we'll also highlight some of the top performances. That's Sports Talk with me, Daniel Blake, this Saturday, April 23 from 1 to 2 p.m. as we explore the recent Carifta Games in Jamaica, right here on the family station, Love 101. Sports Talk is brought to you by Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Hey folks, this is Love 101, the family station, 19 minutes after 6 o'clock.
Advice I don't know all the shot and tally. I have a message to everyone. Get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, feed the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt to the dirt. Link the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Yeah. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
What should you be saving towards? First things first, pay yourself first. Have you set aside money for an emergency fund? It's important to consider how you will meet your expenses if you have an accident, lose your job, or get sick and you are unable to work. Save towards having at least 6 months' income for a rainy day. You will never know when you might have an emergency.
This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
This Saturday, Love 101 takes you downtown as the City of Kingston brings you the Desmond Mackenzie Wellness Day of Care for the Homeless with free medical care and other services for the homeless community. Activities kick off at 10 a.m. and we're bringing you the highlights at 11 under the auspices of His Worship, the Mayor of Kingston, Senator Delroy Williams. Listen for Through the Bible with Love, brought to you by the Open Bible Standard Churches of Jamaica at 10:45 a.m. This Saturday, it's all about giving back, and we're sharing the love at 11 a.m. Saturday, April 23 on the Family Station. Love 101.
This world with self-centered men, women, boys and
Turn your radios up.
Turn it up.
Turn it up. 5, 4, 3.
Okay, are you ready for me? Oh boy. All right, so welcome back to Engage. It's your drive time entertainment choice right here on the Family Station Love 101. And I'm happy to be talking with Chevelle Franklin today. She's going to share her International Leadership Summit journey with us. And right now we go through that and say good afternoon, Chevelle. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, man! It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that I can talk to you here and not seeing some of your very interesting posts on Instagram with between your Bible reading and some of those very abstract looking lessons when you post some of the dog and all. Anyway, I'm like,
Oh Lord, that is me.
all right, so you were part of the International Leadership Summit recently, which allowed you to, with some sharing the stage with the like Denzel Washington and Joel Osteen, which I know you're familiar with sharing the stage with big international acts, but we're going to come to that a little bit. What is the International Leadership Summit, though, in case people are not aware? How would you describe that?
Well, I would describe it as a summit that brings people together to sharpen them for the next level. That's basically, and the spiritual aspect of it, the level of impartation that takes place. I mean, it's just to be in a room with some of the leading people in ministry and in the corporate setting, you can only be sharpened. So Bishop Jakes took it on himself, well, as he was led of God, to keep this thing and to prepare those that have been in lockdown and those that weren't in lockdown, to prepare them for the next level. And so people from all over the world were there, from Africa, from even Jamaica, from the Bahamas, from Canada. There are so many people, so many different nations were there because they understood that when somebody like Bishop E.D.J. called for an impartation to bring something like this together, they can only leave greater. They can only leave a better person. So that's basically what the conference was about, and the instilling of more power. Just it was just one of those places that anybody that could, can afford to be there should have been there, because of what you come out with. You're not going there and leaving the same you came. So basically, that is the kind of conference it was.
I saw Bishop Jakes and his wife offering some commendation of you on social media recently. How did you get connected to them?
Well, I will say this to start from the beginning, that it was just God's favor, because over the years I've met Bishop Jakes before, but God didn't really open his eyes or maybe his heart to me yet. So I was in the right place at the right time. It was just God ordained it that in that time I was in Nigeria ministering, and he was there, and right away God connected my ministry to his heart, and the invitation was open to me. I did my first virtual ministration to the Potter's House, and then got a second invitation to the Leadership Summit, which I know that God really set it up for me, because it gave me access to a door that I never had before. So, and then just to know that somebody like Bishop Jakes and Sarita, First Lady Jakes, to endorse me, I mean, I could never ask for anything better because of who they are in the Lord, who their ranks are in the Lord, and the grace that is upon their lives. So, I mean, it was a very awesome moment for me. But what got me the opportunity, I can tell you, is just the favor and the grace of God and being in the right place at the right time. God divinely set it up that way.
Did you meet Denzel Washington?
You know what? He was right there, but so much was kind of happening, and I'm not the kind of person to push myself on nobody. Just like how I would Bishop Jakes and go push a CD in him and or go forced to take a picture with him. Because even the videos that we took, Bishop Jakes was so pleasant. He was actually speaking about me in front of me around some other persons, and I'm like, Bishop, I just need to record this, and I got the opportunity to record it. So I'm not the kind of person who will see him. It was right there, he was right there. But I just wanted him to, do his thing. And one thing I know, in the fullness of God's timing, everything will come right back around, and we will meet again and have conversations. Let's keep it there.
You will meet again, of course, and have conversation. We may even see you in.
I mean, look at it. For years, I've been to the Mega Fest. I've been to Mega Fest South Africa in Soweto, and I saw him. Bishop Jakes, and I've been to Mega Fest in Atlanta. I saw him, and then I saw him again in London at another conference, the Gathering of Champions. And it's not that I never wanted to meet him or take pictures, but I knew that I know that when you wait on God and when you're faithful to God, God will allow opportunities to come around to give it to you, so that you just don't have to run down everything. You don't have to fight for nothing. It just come to you, and it just came to me.
So you performed at this event, or you just attended as a guest?
No, I performed. I mean, God used the ministry to really set me up, because I got the opportunity to minister before the same night as Joel Austin, and also on the same night as after Denzel Washington spoke, I got the opportunity to minister. So I was there in my full ministry, not just as an attendee, although I attended sessions that the only two worship leaders that were there booked for the conference was me and Israel Horton. So we were there in our full capacity.
Wow. Okay. So that's extraordinary. And then, as I said, you're accustomed to performing at large events, big gatherings outside of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for Chevelle?
Well, wow. What's next? I mean, since the conference, amazing things have happened. Actually on my way shortly to Canada, and I have bookings in America. I'm going to Ghana, to Nigeria. So things are really moving at a different speed, and I'm so grateful to God for favoring me in this way. Even though, my story is not like everybody's story where they said that we went through a lot in the lockdown. That was not my story. God really kept me busy in the lockdown and even after. So far things have really gotten intense, and again, I give God glory for it, So, and I'm humbled, so humbled of the opportunities and the new doors, because one of the things that happened at the summit was that they've never experienced a Caribbean minister before, somebody from the island. So after I finished ministering, there were ministers from and leaders. Remember, this is a leadership summit, not just Christians, but secular and Christendom coming together. You understand? Because you had people like Timbaland was there. You name it, Hollywood was there. Everybody was there. And so people who are from the Caribbean, like from Cuba, St. Croix, and Haiti, you name it, all those persons, they could identify. They came up to me and they were so grateful. They said it's the first time that they've seen somebody that come from the island, because I didn't just go representing Jamaica. Yeah. I represented, me being an island person, getting that opportunity on that stage, represented the Caribbean, and not just, let me not say the Caribbean, but kingdom. But I also say Caribbean because I'm of Caribbean descent. So it was a joy for these other nations, Guyana, Barbados, Bahamas, because the people kept coming. And just to hear me worshiping in my own dialect.
Yes. I always love. Yeah, I always love
the barrier.
I always love and appreciate that. No matter what stage you're on, you give that authentic sound that
Yeah,
know.
you have to. That's the only way you're gonna connect with people. Because if you do a fake sound, it will not connect. There's a dimension in the spirit that it will never break through. You have to be your authentic self. The universe can only respond to your authentic self and give everything that you're deserving of if you be in truth to who you are and in spirit, So I think that is one of the most important things. And also just be humble with it, no matter how gifted everybody say you are. Be humble with it and just watch God. But anyway, it was a fantastic opportunity in a place of great excellence. And I'm so grateful again to God for the new doors and the door and the people that I've met through these doors. Looking forward to great stuff.
Yeah, and we'll keep track of it. And we're grateful that you were able to take the time to come and talk with us today. Congrats
No
on that.
problem, my friend. We'll do it in a while.
Right. Okay, Chevelle. Thank you so much. And we'll look out for some new stuff, new music.
Oh, yes. Listen, mate, my album, I recorded this album in South Africa. And the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, well, God worked it at the songs that I had prepared. It was just a Rhema song during the season of the pandemic, a song called Go in Your Strength and another song called I Prevail. That I didn't make it because of the pandemic. It was made before for that specific time. So the album is called South Wind and it's going to hit the market by the end of this year. And I'm excited about it. I'm about to release the next single, which is called Jesus Wind. And it's going to bless nations.
All right. Thank you, Chevelle, for your continued blessing.
You're
All
welcome.
the best for this season.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. And that takes care of Engage, your drive time entertainment choice right here on the station. Love 101 for today. I want to say thanks to Mara and also Siobhan for always taking care of things on the other side. And thank you for listening and for joining us today. Join us again next week for another in series Engage. And in the meantime, you can have yourselves a great weekend. What's the plan for the weekend now, sir?
I don't even know as yet. I need to get some rest.
When are you going to know?
I guess when it happens tomorrow, have a good one. When it happens tomorrow.
There is no Carifta this weekend. There are no sporting things that's going to require your attention, is there?
No.
All right, well, maybe it's a good time to rest. No gym this week, no gym tomorrow. You clocked all your days this week properly?
I didn't. Not even a day.
Not even a day. Oh, wow.
Not even a day.
I don't know. I know somebody else who didn't even go a day this week. Well, I don't even know. I don't know. I'm not going to take any inspiration from that.
Right. I didn't go last week.
Oh,
I didn't go this week.
All right, we're going to depart now. I'm not so sure what's going on, but you can't miss 2 weeks of the gym. So I think you should go tomorrow just as a kickstart or a sort of a jump start back into next week because you clearly have a lot to make up for. Have you been
If what?
I was going to ask if you've been maintaining the diet.
I try.
That sounds like... All right. So you're planning to go next week?
Yeah, I'm planning to go next week.
Maybe you should go tomorrow.
I can.
Yeah, go tomorrow, even for like a short. Sometimes like if I'm really tired and I go and I'm not gonna do everything, I just say no. This is enough today because I'm fatigued. So maybe you take that same approach and just get some in for the week. Some is better than none.
Indeed, I agree.
And then just rest the rest of the time, and then have enough energy to go next week. I'm talking to myself as well.
Oh, very well. Very well.
I'm going to rest this weekend, and I'm going to have a good one. So have yourself a good rest of evening for your show and a good weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. All the best. Great.
That was totally wicked! This message will self-destruct.